How has online dating worked for you? I met a boy online 14 years ago when I was 17. He was in Alaska. I was in Australia, but he was my online dating boyfriend. He's currently sitting next to me in Australia as my husband of 8 years. 10 out of 10 would find in the abyss of the internet and marry so hard again. So not really dating, but I met my husband online, in a MSN chat room, in 1999 when online dating was unheard of. One day he sent me a private message for those of you who have never heard of MSN chat and asked if he could come see me. He lived 5 hours away and drove down to take me to dinner and then drove back home. 20 years later we are married for 13 years after doing long distance for 7, and have 3 kids. Messaged by a girl on Bumble who was wearing a pro wrestling and a Mass Effect shirt in 2 different pics, and responded immediately. Been dating for over a year now. Back in 2016, I created an anon Twitter account as a place to blow off steam and rant about things I didn't want my current, future employers seeing. Wasn't looking to make friends and definitely wasn't looking for romance. But one day another anon DM'd me one of my tweets with a message like OMG yes, I totally agree with this. We started talking about random topics and hit it off immediately. Over the next few weeks, we talked on the phone a lot, FaceTimed every night, and before either of us realized what was happening we were falling in love. People will argue whether you can fall in love with someone you've never met, but I can tell you that it's absolutely possible. One minor problem, I lived in South Georgia at the time and she lived over 1,000 miles away in Chicago. Another minor problem, both of our parents were absolutely opposed to us dating and did everything they could to keep us apart. She was a freshman in college and I was a sophomore at the time and both of us were still living at home, so that became a challenge. If you thought a long-distance relationship was hard, try having a long-distance relationship in secret. Her parents wouldn't let me visit her, and every time we'd try to plan a trip to meet up things would fall through. After about 7 months of waiting, I did the craziest thing I've ever done. I got on a plane and flew to Chicago without telling anyone where I was going or telling her that I was coming. I called her from the O'Hare airport and nearly gave her a heart attack. Her parents somehow agreed to let her come see me after loading her purse with mace and pepper spray, and we spent an incredible few days laughing together and falling more in love than we thought possible. Amazed that I would go to that much effort to date their daughter. Her parents eventually relented and gave us their blessing. We continued to date long distance. And in September 2018 I dropped to one knee on the Chicago waterfront and asked her to marry me. She said yes, and made me the luckiest man alive. Fast forward to May 2019. I packed up my life and drove 14 hours straight with my golden retriever to start a new life in Chicago with the girl I love. Adjusting to Chicago has been a challenge for this diehard southerner, but it's worth it and I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. When the stars align and fate brings an incredible woman into your life, you don't give up on her just because she lives 1,000 miles away. If you made it this far, thanks for putting up with my rambling. Hopefully this inspires you not to give up on love. Met my current partner and future wife. Do they know about each other? My friend was weighing the pros and cons of dating this girl. He described a girl who I thought sounded really great and advised him to see her. He didn't and I never met her. She had a unique name and years later I see that name on Tinder. I think it couldn't be a coincidence, so I message her the story of my friend and how I thought he blew it. We've been dating for 7 months. I told my friend and he got a good laugh. Got married to the person I met online dating. After countless shit dates, it was just really nice, relaxed, and we just clicked. We've barely been apart since, and that was 10 years ago. I was skeptical about it, but I swiped aggressively both left and right for 2 weeks hoping something would work out. Ended up that after 3 weeks I had a date with 2 separate girls Saturday, and one Sunday. Saturday flaked the morning of, claiming to be too hungover to make it. Mind you, this was 10 hours before the agreed time, so I was not impressed. I was cool about it though. Said we could reschedule for later in the week. Second girl messaged me that afternoon asking if I wanted to meet that night instead. I said yeah, absolutely, thinking, hey, that's pretty neat. So we agree to meet at a restaurant of her choosing, and I show up 5 minutes early. get there, and there's a private event that's closed to the public. So now I'm thinking this is quite a curveball. I wonder if I will have to pretend to know someone at the private corporate event. It wasn't that, though. She just didn't know about the private event. So we went somewhere else. Been seeing her for over a month now, and it's going great. Sure, there are plenty of horror stories, but really my personal opinion is that even if you have 9 bad dates, it only takes one for it all to turn around. I may have gotten lucky, it is still early, but even if I hadn't, if you are serious about wanting a relationship, you have to keep trying. It won't fall out of the sky. Met a girl on Plenty of Fish. We went out, but it didn't really work out. We are still friends and talk frequently 3+ years later. I had a girlfriend on RuneScape a few years ago. Long story short, met the love of my life on POF in September 2018. Soulmate who completed me, made me and my body sing. He got diagnosed with cancer in January 2019. Given 12 to 18 months to live. Died December 2019. So, very good for 14 wonderful months. Met my ex-girlfriend on Tinder. 2 years together followed by an unhealthy adult breakup. We still keep a good relationship post-breakup. I think we were both so ready to find someone right at that time that we haven't stopped to take time for each of us as a person. We became one person as a couple and not two people part of a team. We were doing literally everything with each other, and that led to our downfall. Still like her very much though, and probably always will. I guess my advice is a lot of people are ready to put everything on the fast lane while dating online, and that's a mistake. Take your time. Matched my missus on Tinder. Both type 1 diabetic. Both worked in the same company. Became the factory legend because I got with an office girl. Now we live in Arundel with a river in our back garden, laughing face. Married the first girl I dated who I met online. It was on my BBS. And 25 years ago. But it did work. Started Tinder for a few months. 2 to 3 months no matches. Redid my pictures twice. Still nothing. Deleted and haven't tried again. Thinking of trying again. I seem to attract men who are toothless. Posted a comment on a metal band's official page and got a request from this chick. Started talking to her because I wanted to bone, but ended up with a house and a kid with her. 10 years strong straight out of MySpace. I wasn't truly searching for a boyfriend, but I met a boy online and we started dating in 2016. He moved in a year and a half later and we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary. I married and divorced a man I met on Tinder, so, yes and no. I met my wife in a less traditional online setting. We met on Xbox Live 6 years ago. If you're looking at my numbers, horrible, but if you're looking at my experiences, great. Rarely match. When I do get a couple messages back and forth of pleasantries and getting to know, then ghosted. Every time. Never gotten a date with anyone from online. Assuming you're a male, since I've had many similar experiences. But have you seen what an even moderately attractive woman's Tinder app looks like? I was hanging with basically a FWB who was pretty much an absolute mess. And cute but not banging hot. And she kept getting Tinder notifications, so she opened the app and I expressed curiosity at what women's Tinder looks like, and it was like when you see a friend's mail app's unread push notifications in the thousands. Like holy f***, all I see are read unread notifications all the way down. It's probably less about you and more that these women have so many options. The odds of any one person keeping their interest goes down. Girl I met online I dated for a few months. Turns out she was temporarily separated from her husband. She started seeing another guy without anyone else knowing. I find out she was cheating on me and still married when the wife or girlfriend of the guy she was messing around with spray painted her car when she was caught at his house one night. The police called me to figure out where I was that night and told me she was married but not to the guy she had been spending the night with. This was the same day my mother died. 2 years ago I was swiping through Bumble on a boring, unnecessary conference call and I swiped right on the woman I will be marrying later this year. Does she know though? Nah, she's just buying a wedding dress because she hates having money.